Welcome to Dark Docent. My name is Jake. Join me as I guide my friend James down the paranormal rabbit hole, attempting to prove the authenticity of a new case each week. Today's case, the Roswell Incident. How you doing today, James?
I'm all right.
That's good. I'm glad to hear it.
A little sleepy today, but I can make it through.
That's okay. You got a little bit of coffee there. You'll be all right. You'll be all right.
It's decaf.
It's the flavor.
How are you?
I'm on the fucking edge.
Edge of what?
The edge of reality. Because of what I had to research. Here's the thing. Remember back when we did crop circles?
Yeah, that was the stuff made out of corn, right?
The flattened corn, yes. Back then, I didn't expect it to be huge. But it turned into something huge.
Mm-hmm.
And it caused me to research things way too much. As you recall, I was fucking tired.
Yes.
This case today, I knew was huge from the start. So I've been researching scheduled times at least, so that I know when to do what. And I've ordered things properly. I actually did 2 rough drafts of this case before I finalized it.
My goodness.
It's a big one, brother.
That means I have to give you at least 2.5 no matter what.
I think you might be giving me a little bit more with what I got today.
Uh-oh.
I got a story for you. It is the evening of July 3rd, 1947. Foster Ranch, outside of Corona, New Mexico. Mac Brazel is in his house. There's a massive thunderstorm going on, lightning, everything, and he's just sitting in his house, just listening to the thunderstorm. He is there with his ranch hand, D. Proctor. Not much else to do back in 1947 in New Mexico at this time. And Mac is a very humble person. He has a big ranch, but his house is a one-room shack. 1 floor, no electricity, no running water, and no radio. So this man is literally in the middle of nowhere.
Living in a coffin.
Living in a coffin. He does recall, though, one of the thunder booms sounds a lot less like thunder and a lot more like an explosion. He kind of thinks nothing of it. He just thought that was a strange, powerful strike, and just kept listening. Everything else went off without a hitch. However, the next day, 4th of July, 1947, Proctor and Brazel are herding the sheep on their property towards a watering hole. When all of a sudden, the sheep all stop. They refuse to go any further. As he looks up towards where the watering hole is, he sees a massive debris field. And when I say massive, I mean hundreds of feet wide. And it seems to go on forever. He's trying to herd these sheep closer around, but they won't go anywhere near it. But as he gets closer, he sees that this material on the ground is nothing he's ever seen before. He sees a bunch of strange aluminum-like metal and a bunch of small I-beams about 2 feet long. But the I-beams have strange purple hieroglyphics on them that he's never seen before. He goes to pick up some of the material, and one piece is this strange flat metallic piece. When he picks it up, it feels lighter than air. But the piece is like 2 feet long. He doesn't know what to make of it. So after getting his sheep to the watering hole, struggling around this debris, and bringing them back, he decides he needs someone to come grab it. So he packs them up in his truck, and he was going to take it into Corona, see if anyone knows what it could be, and if anyone could help him take it off his property. Takes it to a few neighbors. They don't know what it is. He keeps it in his shed, and then takes it into town the next day. When he takes the debris into Corona the next day, he starts asking around the town. He ends up going to one of the local bars. He's asking if any of them know what this material could be. One man suggests it could be one of those quote-unquote flying discs everyone's been talking about. Matt Brazel's never heard any of these flying discs, because Mac Brazel lives on a farm with no radio, electricity, running water, and he gets a newspaper monthly. So he has no idea that right now in the United States of America, there is a massive UFO craze. Curious about this, Brazel decides maybe someone in the bigger town next over could help him with this. There's a sheriff there, and maybe they can direct him in the right direction. The name of that town? Roswell, New Mexico. James, have you heard of the Roswell Incident?
You know, that rings a bell.
Are you saying you faintly know it, or are you being sarcastic?
I definitely faintly know it.
Okay.
There's probably going to be a lot of bell ringing as you go through it, but off the top of my head, I'm like, oh yeah, I've heard of that. I've heard of Roswell, New Mexico. I've heard of the Roswell Incident.
Basically, what people remember of the Roswell Incident, it's apparently the first time a flying saucer crashed on United States soil.
Is it what they based Independence Day off of?
No. Although I'm probably sure the Welcome to Earth scene might be loosely based on that.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Was that scene?
I wish Mac Brazel went up to the alien and punched him and said, "Welcome to Earth."
Give him the Chris Rock treatment.
Mac Brazel doesn't know it yet, but he has the biggest story possibly in United States history in his hands. He takes this shoebox of debris to Sheriff George Wilcox. He puts it on his desk and claims this debris is all over his property. He doesn't know where it's from, and he doesn't know what it is. Well, George Wilcox is looking at this farmer who literally has almost zero contact with the outside world and is kind of like, I don't know what to do with this. But, lucky for him, local radio host Frank Joyce had called the station that day asking if there was any noteworthy news going on in the day. So George Wilcox says, you should call Frank Joyce and see what this could be. Brazel did just that. He called up Frank Joyce and said he had pieces of a flying saucer. Now Frank instantly thought this was a hoax, but if he did any actual pieces of a flying saucer, he should go to Roswell Air Base. Now, Roswell Air Base is an important air base. Roswell Air Base is the home of the 509th Bombardment Squad. That is the squadron that bombed Hiroshima and Nagasaki. The bomb came from this airbase. And also all the nuclear testing happened at this airbase. Sorry, so you're going to say something?
I'm just kind of putting puzzle pieces together in my head. Nuclear bombs, nuclear testing, radiation, nut jobs. All sounds like one recipe for a crazy, wacky time.
Okay, well, who's the nut job? I have not said one person was a one nut job so far.
I'm just getting, ahead of it.
Here's the thing. Remember what I say on every other episode? Do not judge a person by their background or character at the moment, but then you instantly do anyway.
Carney's had it coming.
Okay, no, they didn't. Don't judge Mac Brazel because he is a farmer who lives rather solitarily.
What can I judge him off of, if not that?
I guess you can, but the man is just trying to look for something to get off his property. He had no idea that it was a saucer at first. He just saw debris.
Mm-hmm.
But he is doing all the right things. Going to town, what is it? No one knows it. Going into the bigger town to the sheriff. Doesn't want to deal with him, but no one knows it. Goes to the radio host who he gets directed to. No one knows it. Now he's going to the airbase. So he goes to the airbase. America's first nuclear testing ground, Roswell Air Base. And he shows them the debris. All this weird stuff. And they're asking, what is this? Where'd you find this? It's all over my ranch. I need someone to come pick it up. That's basically his thing. He just wants it off because he wants to get his sheep to his watering hole. That's his biggest issue right now.
Of course.
So the colonel of the airbase, Butch Blanchard, got in contact with intelligence officer Major Jesse Marcel and counterintelligence officer Sheridan Cavett. Jesse Marcel isn't just one of the more higher up intelligence officers at Roswell Air Base. He is also the head of security for all atomic tests in the United States. So high up there. These are head honchos we're dealing with. According to Jesse Marcel, they pack up in the afternoon and they head out to the farm. When they go out there, by the time they get there, it took them hours and it was dark. So they spent a night in Mac's cabin. The next morning, they went out to where Mac showed them the debris field was. And they see it, and Mac wasn't lying. The debris field is 200 to 300 feet wide and went on for 3/4 of a mile. when they go down to look at the material, some of the sand had turned to glass from the immense heat of whatever impacted here.
Talk about coming in hot.
Damn right. When they're looking around at everything, the material is exactly how Roswell reported it. This strange light material, these I-beams with the purple hieroglyphics. They try to bend it, twist it, and no matter what they do to try to crumple this material, it comes back to form. No crease, no damage. Roswell did the same thing. You could bend it, and it would all just come right back. Well, they only brought a Jeep out there. So Jesse starts packing up the Jeep with whatever they got. Here's the thing though. I think people doubted that this was an actual flying saucer crash because this scene wasn't closed off. There was first responders going out there. So there was firemen at the scene, different paramedics, neighbors. Apparently, according to some, there were kids running through the wreckage just looking at it. Nothing was actually closed off for investigation. Kind of unprofessional, but I don't know, if someone tells you they have a flying saucer on their ranch, what are you going to do?
Yeah, it's probably a fairly new phenomenon in the States at the time, like you were saying. So
Yeah, actually,
not a lot of protocol, I imagine, for that.
the term flying saucer was actually only 5 months old. The term flying saucer came from a man who sighted them around Mount Rainier in Washington State, who apparently, he said that they skipped along the sky like a saucer. And so that's where the term flying saucer comes from. This actually was like a pretty big thing at the time. People were going through a craze of UFOs. Up until this point, there was over 300 sightings in the United States alone of UFOs. So it's a big thing right now.
Like usual, I'm probably getting ahead of myself or ahead of you here. Crash scene.
Yeah.
Lots of debris.
Yeah.
Everyone and their dog looking around.
Yes.
Do they have any primitive photos from that day there?
If we did, there's a lot of reasons why we don't anymore. And we'll get to that. And also, as far as we know, there's no saucer yet.
Yeah.
It's just the debris.
Just some debris. No alien, no saucer, no Will Smith.
The way Brazel described it is it looked like the saucer skipped off the ground. So like something hit the ground and then came back up. Something hit. That's the only thing that's confirmed is something hit the ground.
Right.
Marcel and Cabot, super excited about this material. And they had to follow strict orders and bring it right back to Roswell Air Base. But as you told me, people don't necessarily follow the rules. So they're too excited. So they both go back home with boxes full of debris to show their families. This is true. So
it's probably pretty neat.
It was 2 a.m. by the time they got home. And Jesse Marcel Jr. remembers his dad waking him up at 2 a.m. to show him stuff that he doesn't think his son will ever see again. And he took all the pieces out. And his son described the same 2-foot-long I-beam with the purple hieroglyphics in it. So other people are looking at it like, this is crazy. Cabot showed his daughter. All these people have seen all this stuff. And they figured before they had to go back to Roswell, maybe they should test some of this stuff out. See what we can do to break it. We've been crumpling it up, it just comes right back to form.
Hit the ground at 400,000 kilometers an hour.
And it's still good. So they tried doing a lot of stuff. They tried tearing it, even though if it was like paper, it would not tear. They tried crunching it up as much as they could, wouldn't crunch up. They tried burning it, it wouldn't burn. They boiled pots of water and threw it on top of the stuff, nothing happened. They would hit it with sledgehammers and it wouldn't even create a dent in the material. No matter what they did, no creases or damage could be made. After about maybe a few hours of this, they came to the conclusion that they should bring it back to the base or else they might get in trouble for harboring possible illegal material. The next day, they do take it back to the base. And they show the material to Colonel Butch Blanchard. He looks through the material and he gets Lieutenant Walter Hott to tell the public what they had in their possession. Let's put a story up. Let people know what's actually here. Walter Hott is the public relations guy of the airbase. So they did. And headlines started to go all across America. Here's what they said.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army. Army officers say the missile, found sometime last week, has been inspected at Roswell, New Mexico, and sent to Wright Field, Ohio, for further inspection.
That was an actual radio transmission.
That was a real radio transmission.
Yes. They actually broadcasted that they had a flying saucer in their possession.
Well, they said flying disc and they said missile.
So they said flying disc, which was another term.
Yep.
The flying disc was kind of
Yeah, I equate that with flying saucer 100%.
It is, but it was like a slang term.
Yeah.
So people would put disc in quotations. But when they say missile, they just mean like projectile sort of thing. They don't really mean a literal missile because they did describe it as the disc. They didn't really know what these discs were yet. It's a whole new craze. People just thought it was like maybe some kind of projectile, some kind of missile, even though it's shaped like a disc.
But they broadcast that they have one in their possession.
Yes, they did. This is actually true. Yes, they did.
And who did that broadcast go out to? Is that just the local area?
Internationally.
Internationally.
All across the United States. So here's the thing. The higher ups don't really know this yet. So they heard that broadcast. We're like, whoa.
We have what?
Whoa. Okay, calm down, slow down. So that was, not only was that put out, they also put out papers saying that they had a flying disc. And I have a picture of those papers for you.
You know, as we do these, I've been giving you lots of higher and higher scores. I'm thinking I gotta be tougher on it. Like, this stuff's all a bunch of hooey. Like, there's no fucking lizard man flying around in a trash can. And then you're coming at me with stuff like this right off the bat. Headline: RAAF captures flying saucer on ranch in Roswell region. Published July 8th, 1947.
Yes. So yeah, this was all over everywhere. This was national news. We have a flying saucer.
Incredible.
So there you go. Can't deny that. We actually did put it out there.
What if it's a fake newspaper and a fake broadcast?
Not a fake newspaper, not a fake broadcast. From here, General Ramey in Fort Worth, Texas, one of the higher ups, Brigadier General, called Roswell. Hey, here's what we're going to do. Bring that material to Fort Worth, Texas. I want to analyze it myself. And from there, we're going to go to Wright-Patterson Air Base. Now, the reason that is important...
Patterson-Gimlin footage.
No. The reason that is important is because Wright-Patterson was a very important air base. What it had was the foreign technology sector. Their entire job was to find enemy equipment and reverse engineer it. That was that whole sector. So if they're sending it there, they know it's not theirs. First, as stated, it was going to make a stop in Fort Worth, Texas. And they actually loaded it on 2 separate planes in case one of the planes got shot down. They were worried about this.
Sounds like it.
Jesse Marcel accompanied the wreckage and went to Fort Worth because since he was the intelligence officer who found it. They land in Fort Worth, Texas. General Roger Ramey is waiting for them. They go to his office with the boxes and boxes of debris. General Ramey's intrigued. The general asked Marcel, "Can you please step into this map room? I want you to show me exactly where you found the crash site." Marcel agreed, of course. So Marcel goes with General Ramey into the map room. Points on a map where he found it. And General says, "Great, awesome. Thank you. Thank you for letting us know." And then Jesse went back outside. When Jesse comes back into the room, he is in shock. The material had been switched right before the press was to come to take pictures of it. As the press comes in with all their cameras, Jesse Marcel is ordered to take photos with the quote-unquote debris. And we have pictures of that. So this is the material that was allegedly the material that could not break and was super smooth, not a crinkle in it, with I-beams, with all the hieroglyphics in it, okay? The man holding this wreckage, Major Jesse Marcel. Feast your eyes.
Aluminum foil.
Precisely.
A weather balloon.
The official story was this was the crash of a weather balloon. And that's where it started. That's where the first excuse of weather balloon was.
Incredible. They really tried with that one.
This is ground zero for UFO excuses and UFO cover-ups, everything. Now, as you look at Jesse Marcel, though, I would say look at the picture. He doesn't necessarily look happy. He looks kind of sheepish.
His face kind of says, "What the fuck is this?"
Yes, and his son actually came out and said, "That's my dad's face," when he's like, "What the fuck?" sort of thing. Like, he's like, "That's not my dad's actually genuine smile." He was actually looking up the reporters are taking pictures here.
Yeah.
He's actually looking up at the officials looking at him.
I'm like, bro, this is what you gave me?
Like, this is what you made? And they're making him take pictures in front of it. Like, look at you, you idiot. You found this. And our intelligence officer thinks that aluminum foil and sticks is a flying saucer? You absolute moron. So, as per usual, they set our boy Jesse up.
Well, you know what? Jesse kind of set himself up for that for going to the newspaper before higher command.
He did not go to the newspaper first. Actually, Colonel Butch Blanchard, the head of Roswell Air Base, is the one that told public relations to tell everyone we have a flying saucer.
Right, yeah.
But not just him. They also had other officials take pictures with the wreck. The man there inspecting it is General Ramey. So they made a big deal out of this. And General Ramey began telling the papers, no need to worry, folks. It is just a crashed weather balloon. And he told everyone else, that's the official story. And that's what you're going to tell everyone.
So case closed.
Papers went out the same day. Like the same day, the news went back, said, rewrite this story. And there was like 10 times more newspapers going around saying that it was actually a weather balloon than there was the initial story of the flying saucer. Like, people tried really, really hard. The media tried really, really hard to make fools out of these people.
I'm sure there was a lot of money involved to make it go away fast.
There was a lot of things. But here's the thing. So the official stuff here actually is a crash weather balloon. It is aluminum foil, rubber, sticks, and tape. And General Ramey, actually just to rub it in, brought a specialist in to tell the papers what this was. And the specialist said, this is without a doubt a weather balloon.
What the fuck even is a weather balloon?
I have a picture for you, do not worry.
Oh.
After this, the entire thing was laughed off. The public, just a weather balloon, calm down. It's totally okay. They made everyone look like a fool, taking pictures with the stuff.
Yeah, did the public shamings.
Exactly. But after this, the debris was sent to an unspecified location. And Jesse was sent home. He was told by everyone, you are not allowed to talk about this anymore. Every official involved here was told they are not allowed to talk about this anymore. And he went to his family and said, we are not allowed to talk about this at all. Ever. The same day, the correction is made, spread throughout the press. And the next day, there's another story that comes out. July 9th, a newspaper comes out claiming that Mac Brazel came out saying that there was no alien space debris. It was just rubber strips, tinfoil, paper, and sticks. So now they made Mac Brazel look like a fool too. After this, it was just less than a week. Roswell went away. It was a weather balloon. It was done. What are you thinking about all this?
I think this was a short episode. Well, what do we know about chunks of rubber? You can bend them, you can hit them with a hammer, you can twist them. They snap back into place.
But are they 2 feet long and metallic?
I'm sure they could be. Metallic spray paint, we have that.
Okay.
And I'm sure you could even get a 2-foot chunk of rubber if you really wanted.
You know what? Sure. Definitely. And you know what? Up to this point, I can see why everyone was like, oh, they just confused it with a weather balloon. But some people weren't so convinced. In 1978, reports of Roswell began to resurface. 30 years later. This is all thanks to a very important researcher. Nuclear physicist Stanton Friedman. Stanton Friedman is a major UFO researcher and is one of the catalysts for resurfacing the interest in Roswell. So he began asking more questions. What actually happened here? Was it really just nothing? Friedman was absolutely sure of a cover-up. And a big reason for that is because 1947 was a big year for the US government. It was the year that the Cold War unofficially started. It was the year of the first ever flying saucer UFO craze. And it was also the year that a little thing called the CIA began.
What timing?
Yes. So they didn't really know how to cover things up that well yet. And it shows in how they covered this up. It's a lot less discreet. We'll get into it. As Stanton Friedman is looking into all of this, he has a whistleblower come forward. Not just any whistleblower, a very important one that was involved with Roswell firsthand. Major Jesse Marcel. He was nearing the end of his life, and he wanted the truth to come out. I have all the quotes here. I have videos of the interview. What would you like?
Both.
So here's the quote from Jesse Marcel in an interview. I don't know if it's directly from Stanton Friedman. There were other reporters that came in to help Stanton Friedman and do other research around it at the time. But Stanton Friedman was one of the head guys of doing that. Here's a quote from Jesse Marcel. It felt like you had nothing in your hands. It wasn't any thicker than the foil out of a pack of cigarettes. But the thing about it that got me is that you couldn't even bend it. You couldn't dent it. Even a sledgehammer would bounce off of it. I knew that I had never seen anything like that before. It was not anything from this earth, that I'm quite sure of. Being an intelligence officer, I was familiar with just about all materials used in aircraft and or air travel. This was nothing like that. It could not have been.
So in this one, he's talking about a foil, not
He's-
about an I-beam or anything.
No, he said the flat stuff I'm telling you about.
Yeah.
Because there's an I-beam. That was another piece. But the other piece was this flat aluminum material. That's the one he's talking about in this quote.
The words as they are, that makes it sound more like the foil of a weather balloon.
No, he said it was as light. He said it was like, if the thinness was like that of a cigarette foil. Not it was like like it was thin. Like
Yeah.
that. But he could bounce a sledgehammer on it and it wouldn't dent. It wouldn't crease. It was completely unbroken. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I think so. So you're like, it's just like a big, flat, super thin sheet.
Yeah. So what he's talking about here,
Not necessarily big, but a flat, super thin sheet.
this was apparently, I think he said it was 2 foot by 3 foot, and it wasn't any thicker than the foil of a pack of cigarettes. That's how thin it was. And he couldn't bend it. He couldn't dent it. Couldn't put a sledgehammer, it would bounce off of it. As we said before, he tried burning it. Didn't work. He tried tearing it. Couldn't work. If you did try to crumple the smaller bits, it would just come right back. That's what's different about this. He's just saying when he says foil, it's a bad thing to use,
Yeah.
but he's just saying the thinness of foil from a pack of cigarettes.
Yeah.
So this is pretty insane that wouldn't dent from a sledgehammer,
Basically a metallic sheet of paper.
essentially, but it was impervious. And the thing is that he also said he was an intelligence officer, and he was a higher up intelligence officer. This guy was the head of security of atomic tests in the United States. And he knows this stuff. He knows the material you're using on airplanes. He knows the material you're using on weather balloons. He knows the material you're using for anything like that. And he says this was none of it.
Crazy.
It's something. Would you like the video of him?
Sure, please. Let's give it a quick watch.
The next day, reporters heard that the Air Force had found fragments of the mystery object crashed on a remote ranch northwest of Roswell. Excitement ran high until officials announced it was only a weather balloon. Major Jesse Marcel, in charge of the operation, now tells a far different story.
They took pictures, of course. They had a whole flock of microphones there. They wanted they wanted some comments from me, but I wasn't at liberty to do that. So all I could do is keep my mouth shut. And General Ramey is the one who discussed or told the newspapers, the newsmen, what it was and to forget about it. It was nothing more than a weather observation balloon. Of course, which we both knew differently. The following morning, we went out to the site where the crash was. And what I saw, I couldn't believe there was so much of it. It was scattered over such a vast area. So we proceeded to pick up as much of the debris as we could, loaded in a wagon. We filled that up. It took us a good part of the day to do that because there were such small fragments that we had to do a lot of picking. We found a piece of metal about a 1.5 to 2 feet wide and about 2 or 3 feet long. Felt like you had nothing in your hands. It wasn't any thicker than the foil out of a pack of cigarettes. But the thing about that got me is that you couldn't even bend it. You couldn't dent it. Even with a sledgehammer would bounce off of it. So I knew that I had never seen anything like that before. And as of now, I don't know what it was. It was not anything from this earth that I'm quite sure of. Because being an intelligence officer, I was familiar with just about all materials used in aircraft and in our air travel. This is nothing like that. It could not be. It could not have been.
What do you think? What Jesse Marcel's saying here?
Interesting, that's for sure. They said initially there that they just picked up as much as they could.
Yes.
So did people come there after the fact and pick up the rest of it, presumably?
Yes.
Did anyone stash a piece?
Here's the thing, brother. Jesse Marcel wasn't the only witness to come forward. He wasn't the only whistleblower. For Roswell, we have over 600 witnesses and whistleblowers ranging from civilian to military official.
That's it? 600?
600. Roswell's a small town, and only the higher ups saw this. 600 is a lot.
That's a few.
I'll actually look at the population of Roswell for you right now. So in Roswell, in 1947, approximately 20 to 25,000. So a smaller town. Corona, even smaller than that. 600 people coming out from all that, and lots of those being of military. It's something. And I've got quotes and videos of all that. If you want to see and you want to hear.
Quotes and video from all 600 people?
Not all 600, but I can get you all 600 if you want. There's a PDF. Do you want me to read through all 600? Or at least 600? There's over 600.
Yeah, if you could cap it at 600, that would be great. I don't think I have time for all anything more than that.
I'll cap it at like 15, I think I have here. So we have the 600 whistleblowers and witnesses that have come forward. And this is all thanks to two reporters, Thomas J. Carey and Donald R. Smith. They were working on a book called Witness to Roswell, Unmasking the 60-Year Cover-Up. Is what they wrote up. This just came out in the 90s? Yes, 90s. But they started the reporting in the late 70s, 80s, 90s. They were doing all that. So they got a lot of blurbs from that. If you want to check out that book, it's a good book. But to get into some of the other witnesses, one of the other whistleblowers to come forward was Colonel Thomas DuBose. He came out stating the balloon was a cover story. They actually obtained a signed affidavit from Thomas DuBose, who was the general's chief of staff, stating that the weather balloon story was to divert attention of the press. Direct orders of the Deputy Director of Strategic Air Command in Washington, D.C. That's where it came from. They had 3 orders. 3 orders were: send the wreckage to Wright-Patterson. Get the press out of their hair by any means necessary. And never talk to Jesse Marcel about this again. Those were the 3 orders from the Pentagon. And that's a signed affidavit. So, something. But here's another thing. Mac Brazel, after talking to Frank Joyce, mentioned he didn't just find debris. As he went back to his farm and he searched the wreckage more, he found bodies. Bodies. And according to Mac Brazel, they were not human. They were 3 to 4 feet tall, gray skin, black eyes, slits for mouth, with 2 holes for a nose.
Could they have been sheep that got annihilated by whatever crashed there?
Definitely not. Nice try.
You gotta ask.
Gotta ask. It's something you can ask.
Weather balloon sheep incident.
Here's the thing. When Frank heard this, he was like, Mac, will you come back and we can do a radio interview talking about this? Mac agreed. So Mac went to the radio station. He's going to have an interview talking about the bodies in the trash site that he found. Here's the thing. The day he went to the radio station, there was a phone call at KGFL, which was the radio station that Frank Joyce hosted. Minority owner Judd Roberts answered the call. It was the FCC. The FCC and U.S. Senator Dennis Chavez both threatened the radio station, saying that if they broadcasted the interview, their license would be revoked.
And they did it anyways.
No. They were actually kind of scared because other phone calls were happening in other radio stations around Roswell area that were also being closed off by different officials. Not just this one. So they were afraid and they stopped. And then Frank didn't see much of Mac after this. So for a few days later. Days after the incident, Mac Brazel visited Frank and said that he was mistaken. It was nothing but a weather balloon. Frank was kind of startled by this because, the debris and everything, it was just through town. Mac was all passionate. All of a sudden, he just changed like that. It wasn't just Mac who saw it. A bunch of people saw it by this point. Frank figured he could try to twist a question back at him. Frank reportedly asked, "What happened to the little green men?" Quietly, Mac replied, "They weren't green." Shortly after this, Mac Brazel purchased a brand new pickup truck and left his ranch to start a business in Alamo Gordo, New Mexico.
Hell yeah, brother. Better life. Bigger and better things.
Here's the thing. He didn't have money. And come to find out, those few days between Frank, the interview, dropping off the debris, and him coming back, we found out through the loved ones of Mac Brazel, he was detained by the military for a day. July 9th, he wasn't around. And all of a sudden after that, Mac Brazel comes in saying it was just sticks and aluminum foil, and then had enough money to buy himself a brand new truck and start a business in Alamo Gordo, New Mexico.
Who bought the farm?
I don't know. I don't know who bought the farm. I don't know anything about that. All I know is that he up and left that month. He got some money from somewhere, and he was detained by the military. And that's all we know about that. And we'll get back to why that's all we know about that.
I sure hope so.
Now, he wasn't the only civilian to witness anything weird about Roswell. This is where we start to get into how, they weren't good at cover-ups yet. Do you have any questions so far? I've been throwing a lot at you.
Yeah.
Are you catching this all, or is it just too much? I'm excited about this.
I mean, fuck, what do I even ask? I've been peppering in a couple questions as we go here.
You have. I just want to make sure I'm not throwing too much at you too fast.
I don't think there's any helping that.
I know there's a lot.
So the bodies, the alien bodies.
Yes, sir.
Mac found those after the fact?
Yes.
What happened to those? I mean,
I think we might know.
I know that we know, but it just he just kind of sprinkled that in afterwards, and then it was he was gone.
So the days that it took Frank Brazel to bring all the stuff in and actually do it all, this is over a span of 4 or 5 days.
Yeah, okay, so everything we've talked about so far has been a 4 or 5 day period.
Yeah, so July 3rd there was a storm. July 4th is when he found the debris.
Yeah.
July 5th he brought it into town, brought it into Corona. July 6th, I believe he brought it into Roswell. And July 7th, I think he brought it to the air base. And the air base, or July 6th, he went to the air base because he went to Roswell.
Right.
And then they went from there out to his ranch July 7th. And then came back July 8th with the stuff. So July 8th is when the newspaper report went out.
Right.
So this is over a span of less than a week, but it's a few days.
Yeah. Crazy few days, that's for sure.
It is a crazy few days.
Yeah, I don't know.
You're just looking.
There's no shortage of questions that we could ask.
I saw you at the start kind of going and then as I kept talking, kind of going
well, I'm playing the game too of what do I ask now and what do I wait to hear because you're probably going to answer it anyways.
Well, is there anything about things that I've told you?
Yeah, well, I did ask before, if anyone had a piece, and you said there was 600 witnesses.
Yes.
Did one of those 600 witnesses have a piece of the material?
Yes.
Oh.
So remember I told you before that the scene was not closed off?
Yes.
People were just running through it?
Yep.
So one of these men was a man named Dan Dwyer. He was a fireman, and he was at the wreck. He brought his daughter to the fire station. Stop taking pictures of my cat. I'm talking to you about aliens. We're talking about skinwalkers another day.
Couldn't help it. Once in a lifetime opportunity right here. Daniel Day-Lewis brought chicken to the farm. Told you I was listening.
Dan Dwyer was a fireman who was allegedly at the wreck. And he brought his daughter to the fire station to see some of the pieces that he collected from the wreck. She was all excited, super excited. He showed her all the pieces. She held it. She talked about the I-beam with the hieroglyphics. Everyone was talking about the strange thin material that couldn't be broken.
Mm-hmm.
Well, a few days later, there was a knock at the door. His daughter, Frankie, opened it. She was a young girl at the time. It was her mother and her daughter. When she opened the door, it was a government official. The man said that he was looking for a little girl who was at the fire station the other day. And they said, Frankie was at the fire station. My husband's Dan Dwyer, all that stuff. The man came in, asked them to sit. They sat at the kitchen table and he stood. Then he looked at Frankie and said, I heard that you were at the fire station the other day. He said, yes, sir, I was. The man said, I want you to understand that you were never there. This girl's like 7 years old, okay? She said, yeah, I was. And he replied, no, you weren't. She said, yes, I did. I handled the pieces. He replied, no, you didn't, and you never saw it. He started getting mad.
Bros are arguing with a child in front of her mom.
It's actually kind of funny, but it's also really scary. So apparently this guy started screaming and yelling, like mad, like, no, you did not see this. You were not there. There were no pieces, like getting mad. And apparently, after a few minutes of this, he grabbed a baton from his side and started beating his hand with each word he said. He said, quote, I want you to understand you were never there. You did not see anything. You did not hear a conversation. If you can't understand this, there are other things we can do. He asked Frankie's mom, can she keep a secret? Her mom replied yes. Because what the fuck else are you going to say?
Yeah.
He looked back at Frankie dead in the eye. If you ever talk about this, we can take all of you kids to Orchard Park. Orchard Park was a Japanese POW war camp. The quote continues, but we don't have to do that. We can just take you out to the middle of the desert, and no one will ever find your bodies. No one will ever know what happened to you. The only way I'll let you live is if you never talk about it. After this point, the man left. And Frankie and her parents never talked about this ever again till the day they all died.
Then how do we know about it?
Because Frankie didn't talk to her parents. But she did talk to a bunch of people later.
Oh, hell yeah.
So she came out in an interview. This is all in the 80s and 90s.
Yep.
All these people are older now. And I'm going to be honest here. The interview with Frankie is terrifying. Because she's crying and shaking and not looking at the camera. And she's talking about how you don't know how hard it is to keep the secret knowing that your life's on the line. It's a big thing for her. She's traumatized by whatever happened.
Yeah.
And apparently her dad came home from the fire station and he looked disheveled and scared too. But again, he never said anything. But they assumed that the officials also went there. This is not the only person to come forward talking about strange things happening that day. We've got first responders. We've got military personnel. We've got civilians throughout the town. We even had doctors that allegedly worked on the bodies. This is easily the biggest case we've done yet, and it definitely deserves a 2-part episode. Join us next week as we get into the Roswell Incident Part 2, Witnesses and Whistleblowers. And maybe I'll have enough to pull James to the other side of the fence this week. If you like what we're doing, follow us on Facebook and Instagram for case photos and updates. And don't forget to give us a rate and a follow. It really goes a long way. Also, share with your friends. Word of mouth is the best advertisement, and it's free. If there's any cases you'd like us to investigate, or if I missed something, you can email us at darkdosenpod@gmail.com. You can find links to all of this in our show notes. Word to the wise, if you find a crashed spaceship, keep it as a lawn ornament. Those feds are nosy. We'll see you next week, everybody. Thank you for listening.